Thanks everybody for coming for this today. This is great. It's great to look around here and see all these smiling faces of folks I've known, some of you for years and years, and some just over the last couple. This has been quite an adventure over the last few years, and I'm very grateful to have your presence here today. 4 years ago, I felt compelled to run for the office of County Commissioner here in Blair County. I saw grave injustices in the county centered on the reassessment and on the burgeoning budget. You all supported those plans that I had for Blair County, and we as a group won the primary and general elections by a very huge margin. Clearly that was a mandate from all of the people to the incoming commissioners to tell us what you wanted us to do. So my main concern has always been with financial issues. I want to make sure to protect taxpayer dollars. The reassessment was quite a debacle, and many people ended up being harmed financially in the process. I don't believe that was the intent, but that was the result. I helped a lot of folks appeal before I became a commissioner, and have encouraged people to continue to appeal if they have evidence and information that is relevant and that could give them some relief. However, when I came into office, I proposed that the commissioners that we should return to the methodology that used to be used, where the commissioners actually sat and heard the appeals. That made the people that were petitioning, the taxpayers, have that knowledge that the elected officials were actually involved and were concerned and were wanting to know what they had to say and see what their proof was. We're the ones that are supposed to be answering to the people, but we're not, because we have a committee that's set up. We can certainly use committees. However, I believe that the best way to go forward with reassessment or actually assessment appeals at this point, because we're way beyond reassessment, but to go forward with the appeals would be to have the commissioners sit and listen to those appeals. There aren't that many anymore, so it shouldn't be a burden on us, but it is something that would certainly give people some reassurance that their county commissioners are really concerned and working for them. However, since that didn't come into play, I took the time to educate myself on the entire appraisal process for assessment, because I thought it would be good for the commissioners, at least for me, to know the procedures, know what they look at. And so I took the classes that were offered by the County Commissioners Association of Pennsylvania, and I have been certified. Now, I'm not going to be an assessor. I have enough to do. But at least I understand what our assessors do when they go out and look at properties. And certainly that would be helpful for the commissioners to understand that. So another financial issue that I had discussed was trying to grow our local economy, to create opportunities not only for our citizens, but to attract other folks into the area. As the commissioner liaison for the Parks and Recreation, Fort Roberdeau, and Explore Altoona, I have worked with these groups to showcase some of the natural resources and things that we have here, the beauty of the area and opportunities that we have. In the 2019 race, I also supported broadband expansion for Blair County. Once elected, our board worked together to move broadband ahead. We committed $50,000 from the federal CARES funds towards a cooperative effort with Bedford, Cambria, Fulton, Huntingdon, and Somerset counties. This group will begin work soon by installing new and additional equipment on existing towers, which is an inexpensive first step to provide service to over 1,600 unserved or underserved properties in Blair County. Another one of my goals was to incentivize investment in the community. I voted in favor of the expansion of the LRTA program. LRTA stands for Local Economic Revitalization Tax Assistance. It's a great program. What it does is it gives a tax break, a temporary tax break, to anybody who builds new buildings or does important big repairs to adding on an addition to their home or building a garage or those kinds of things. What happens is for a period of time, their taxes do not increase to reflect the additional building that they have done, and it phases it in slowly over a period of years. So we're hoping that that will help get more people to work on their homes and do some maintenance and things like that. It's a great program. It really does help to improve neighborhoods and communities. The county government and all governments, unfortunately, have an insatiable appetite for taxpayer dollars. Our county government had been hiring more and more employees, and so we were getting higher and higher numbers of employees, which didn't really make sense because there was also a lot of money that had been put into technology to try to standardize and streamline things. However, I have supported some consolidation of positions to try to redistribute responsibilities and opportunities instead of automatically recreating a job and just putting somebody in there. We evaluate and see, are there any duties that can go elsewhere? Some of my liaison officers take a look at that and talk to me about those things, and some of them choose not to, but that's just how things go sometimes. But that's a good way to try to keep an eye on that and not let that continue to get bigger and bigger. It also creates opportunities for the employees. If non-union employees are able to take on some additional responsibilities, we can reward them with an additional pay. We can give them a commensurate raise in their pay. So that would also help them with job satisfaction. During my time in office, I have been listening to people and have been trying to be responsive to citizen requests. I supported both of the Second Amendment votes that came before the commissioners. In my first year, we received a resolution that we put forth, and the resolution expressed a deep commitment to the rights of law-abiding citizens to keep and bear arms. That was the wording from the resolution. In my second year, I then assisted with the Second Amendment referendum. I helped with the petitions. I spoke in favor of the referendum, and I helped to promote the group's requests and suggestions. And I'm proud that I voted for the Second Amendment referendum. In Blair County now, and this is from the referendum itself, taxpayer resources cannot be used to infringe on our rights to bear arms. During our discussions during commissioner meetings, I stressed that we commissioners really should respond when local residents bring up issues of concern. And I stated, I believe it's our duty to address issues that people raise. I have worked towards establishing accountability and transparency in our county government. As I have stated many times, government exists to serve the people. Since I took office, I believe that our county government has made some advances and become more open and transparent. As you probably know, commissioner meetings and other public meetings are now accessible online remotely, and so people can participate in those. They can hear what's happening. They can talk during public comment, which is good. It helps to get to us the information that people want us to know and concerns that they have. We also have been advertising for goods and services and entering into contracts with vendors. And then those contracts get posted and they're available online so that people can look at them and see what is the county buying and why and what are we doing with our funds. So those are all good things that we have been working on to try to help address the wants that the people have made clear. I have also focused my efforts on more efficient uses of assets and reducing costs in the departments where I serve as liaison commissioner. I have been diligent in identifying new vendors for some of the goods and services the county requires to operate. We have some vendors that we've been using for many years and who are still very competitive, but we are also trying to open this up to other vendors, to let other folks have an opportunity to do business with the county. One of my departments was, it was called Public Works initially when I took office. And that particular department was suffering with poor leadership and a lack of planning. Most of the projects that were being taken on were reactionary. Something bad would happen and you had to address it right away. That's certainly not a way to take care of building or maintain things. And of course, as you all know from owning homes, most likely, planning does save money. So I was able to restructure that department into two related departments. The one is roads and bridges, and the other is buildings and maintenance. The gentlemen that took those lead positions in the departments have worked with me to plan improvements in order to preserve our assets. I work regularly with the roads and bridges department and our engineers in prioritizing projects, obtaining funding, communicating with the landowners who will be affected by the projects, and seeing the projects to completion. Many of the road and bridge projects that you have seen since construction was reopened after COVID are county projects. Most of them actually are PennDOT projects, but we do, because we have roads and bridges that we're responsible for, we have been working towards making sure that we get them completed. I told Anita that I was going to mention her, and so she's here, and so this is where I mention you. We learned, and we've been trying to be more efficient and save funds, and Anita Turchanik, our register and recorder, learned that the cost of our storage of records was going, where we were storing them, which was not here in Blair County, was going to increase in enormous leaps and bounds. And that, of course, was not budgeted. We didn't have any way of dealing with that. It was going to be a big jump in money, and over the years it would be just horrific what the total amount would end up being. So Anita, who is our register and recorder, Heather Reininger, who is our records management department, Mark Taylor of the 911 and emergency management department, Jim Pooler, our building and grounds person, and I worked together, and we found an alternate, and we found another way of storing those records. We are required, the county is required to keep the records forever, most of the records, not everything, but we've put them onto microfilm and tried to make them in smaller ways that we can actually keep them, and we don't have to buy several buildings to store them in. So we all worked together, got a grant to do some of the work, put that all together, and we now have a safe and secure place that we actually have control over, and is it's more secure, we believe, and it's been a much better thing. That went into effect last year, and we believe that it will it will certainly give the county more control over the safety and security of our public records that we keep. I have encouraged my other departments to reduce costs by utilizing county staff instead of going out and hiring service providers. This not only reduces the costs for products and labor and different things, but it also more efficiently utilizes the knowledge and abilities of the people that we have as employees in our building and maintenance staff. In fact, if you go to the courthouse now, you'll see painting going on and all sorts of other things are happening to try to do some maintenance and take care of things there. These are numbers about the budget that I think you'll find very interesting. In 2020, when this board took office, the general fund budget totaled nearly $57 million. It increased to nearly $57.5 million for 2021, and in 2022 it was almost $60,000. So you can see it's been increasing. However, this board has reduced the general budget because we have consolidated some building and maintenance project, and we have imposed some limits on spending. So for 2023, we have reduced the general fund budget back down to $57.6 million, which is pretty, I thought we had worked together, we did a pretty good job of that. Hopefully we can continue. I have voted against every proposed tax increase. I believe taxes must be reasonable, affordable, and fair. People understand that we all do have to pay taxes to help support the programs and services that the county offers and that the county is required to offer. But we need to evaluate things, see if we can find better ways, more efficient ways, less expensive ways, or different ways to start dealing with things. I have pursued and secured various grants with the help of my liaison departments. Many of those have involved grants for the Highway and Bridge Department. That's really been a big focus in my term here. I work with my department head, Paul Schaefer. The county owns 70 bridges and 5 roads. Think about that, that's a lot that we have to take care of. When I first became the liaison commissioner for the department, nearly 40% of our bridges were structurally deficient. That's kind of scary, isn't it? I have worked with the county engineers, the department head, the staff, to identify the areas where the bridges were in the worst condition. And despite the fact that we had nearly 2 years where we couldn't construct anything because of the COVID restrictions, we got involved, and in 2022, last year, we completed 3 bridge projects. We will be replacing 4 box culvert bridges this year on County Road 101, and we have 7 other bridge projects in various stages. With what we have planned, we will complete more in 2024 or 2025, and what will be remaining is only 15 bridges that need work and repairs. So I think that we're moving along well in that direction. One of the things that I did was I went and met with the people whose properties would be affected by these construction projects, because the county needs rights of way to go onto their land, and sometimes that's just temporary, but oftentimes that is permanent. Part of the wing walls or something will be on their land, and so we can't just take it away from them. We have to deal with them and offer them some funds for that. I went and met with all those neighbors along County Road 101 that would be affected by the box culverts, and talked with them about what we were doing, showed them how this would affect them, and was able to get rights of way from all of them. What that did, though, by sending me out instead of hiring an organization to go do that, is it saved the county at least $50,000 in professional fees to other folks to go out and obtain those signatures on right-of-way documents. Another one of my liaison departments is Fort Roberdeau. When I first got onto the fort meeting, the first meeting that I attended, I challenged the board of the Fort Roberdeau to become more self-sufficient. And I think that they were kind of insulted, and I understood that, because they were like, what do you mean? We've been doing a good job, and they had been doing a good job. But I had some ideas, and I challenged them, and so they did. I'm really proud of them. I think they did a fantastic job. When activities became very limited because of COVID, they really took advantage of that, and they expanded their activities. They offered different programs. Glenn Nelson and his staff and volunteers at the fort expanded, made some revenue or some improvements to the property, and obtained some grant funding to do. There's lots of new things down there, new roof, new pavilions going in. Yeah, you need to go down and see how the fort's doing. And they also partnered with private local businesses for services and events. The fort's really been a fun liaison appointment for me. I was the commissioner liaison for voting on elections over the last 3 years, but I stepped away from that this year because I'm running for reelection, and I believe it would be a conflict of interest for me to be making decisions and taking part in anything having to do with the election itself. However, during that three-year period when I was the commissioner that was the liaison, I was very involved in the operations. And as you all know, there were a lot of changes that had to be made in the whole election department and how we processed everything due to that awful Act 77. We were very careful in Blair County to maintain the security and integrity of the elections. We applied for and received funding from the state to help cover some of the additional costs that we had to take on that resulted from the changes that were imposed on the counties. Think about it, just the postage alone, now that we have mail-in voting, just to mail out ballots to people, and the first year we covered the postage for them to mail them back in. That was, I don't know, $50,000, $60,000. It was outrageous what the cost was. So we did get some reimbursement from the state for that, which was helpful. But going forward, the state's not going to reimburse for that every year, so that becomes a big problem for the taxpayers. And we worked to try to minimize the effect of that, and hopefully that will continue into the future. We also obtained some funding from the state to help us to purchase equipment that makes the counting and handling of the ballots more efficient and more accurate. It is a monumental task to handle an election. It takes a lot of time and effort. We pull in employees from all different departments to help, and it's quite a group effort, but it's very rewarding when it's all done. I have also supported local business and industry as a part of the Chamber of Commerce's Farm City Committee. We promote our many farms, showcasing them at events. This highlights their contribution to the economy of our area in providing great jobs and delicious products for our community. This Board of Commissioners has also supported local businesses by awarding federal CARES funds to those who applied for financial help during the pandemic. You may remember there was an opportunity to apply. We also extended loan guarantees to businesses such as Boscov's and to the Blair County Airport to assist them in financing issues. Since I took office, I proposed the following. I supported additional education and training for our emergency management department. I promoted the therapy dog program, and Pete is here that works down, volunteers down at the Ford, doesn't work, and brings his dog Sam, who is the therapy dog. Sam has been working at the fort since last summer, but he is available also for all the other departments. We think that it might be helpful at children and youth with kids that have to testify, or victims of crimes, or witnesses that are just, troubled by the whole trying to be in court and dealing with something that's so unusual and scary, really, frankly. But that has been a wonderful, wonderful opportunity that is no cost to the county, which is wonderful. These are volunteers that bring their dogs, and the dogs help to comfort folks if they need that. I opposed the 2.5% annual increases on salary for the elected officials. I stated when we had the meeting not too long ago that we public officials are not in this for giant pay. We do this really as a public service. I supported the Next Generation 911 project, which is a part of our emergency management and 911 department. We are a part of the Southern Alleghenies 911 Cooperative, which includes Blair, Bedford, Cambria, Fulton, Center, Huntingdon, and Somerset counties. We currently share radio towers and microwave network, but we're going to be adding a regional emergency services internet protocol along with other technologies to make the whole area be able to work together. And if there's an emergency happening one place and something else is happening across county lines and people get pulled back and forth, it helps them to communicate and to provide better coverage for all of our citizens. If Blair County, we're gonna all have to go to this next gen system. If Blair County had to do this on our own and just go out and buy everything and set it all up, it is estimated that it would cost nearly $10 million. Okay, we don't have that hanging out in our pockets. So because we're a part of this cooperative, the Southern Alleghenies Cooperative, the Pennsylvania Emergency Management Agency will pay for the entire cost for the entire Southern Alleghenies. So this has been a wonderful product that's going to go forward and be good for the safety and security of our area. I opposed the use of the ARPA funds for employee bonuses. The ARPA monies were intended primarily to be used for major infrastructure projects. And we, of course, in Blair County have a lot of major infrastructure projects that need to be funded. The justification that was used in awarding these bonuses was that it would help to retain employees. However, the largest bonuses were given to people who have been in the county for many, many years and who weren't looking for another job, and they didn't necessarily have any incentive to stay any more than they already did. It was kind of nonsensical. However, the new folks that were coming in that you'd want to keep and encourage to stay were given very small bonuses. So to me, it seemed backwards, and as a result, I did not support that. I have proposed at various times an evaluation of the duties of every job after an employee leaves. And I've mentioned this earlier, but I do want to try to make some reassignments. With the union, we really can't do that. We have to go through the union, and that's something that has to happen when we're working on a contract. So it's more difficult, and you have to kind of plan it in advance. But with the non-union employees, it certainly gives an opportunity to assign some duties elsewhere to another person, and whoever's willing to take those duties, then we would give them a commensurate, my proposal is that we would give them a commensurate increase in their pay, which would certainly incentivize them. And it's good for them, and it's good for the county. It helps everybody all the way around. The county has suffered, and I'm sure you've seen this in the news, the county has suffered with a loss of caseworkers in this Children, Youth, and Families Department. This has been going on for years, and it's not a surprising thing when you know what goes on in that department. The job of being a caseworker in Children, Youth, and Families is really a heart-wrenching and difficult job. The caseworkers tend to be burdened by what they see and what they deal with on a daily basis. There's very high turnover in the department. People can be extremely well qualified but not want to stay because of the demands not only on their time and their efforts at work, but also the demands on their time when they go home. A lot of what they see stays with them, and there are a lot of, like police officers see the same kinds of things, and these are difficult jobs. So we know we have a problem. We've implemented a couple of things to try to retain people and get people to come in to the jobs at Children and Youth and Families. We have recently started offering part-time jobs because a lot of the folks that are in a position to be caseworkers are younger and have young families, and they have some time to work, and they have the degree and they want to work, but they can't devote 40 hours. They might be able to devote 20, they might be able to devote 18, but they want to stay involved and help, but they need part-time. So we just started offering that about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I believe we started advertising those positions. In addition, my suggestion is that we offer some partial remote positions for people to work. That might be helpful. Our exit interviews indicate that the caseworkers are leaving because of the demands on their personal lives and the difficulty in dealing with what they see. So we're thinking that the part-time that has gone into effect, and I'm hoping that I can push this partial remote work and sharing of duties ideas so that those would be available for people too, that not only would they be helpful for the caseworkers, potential caseworkers, but they could also be helpful for other departments as well. I work to help secure state grant funding for the prison study. which of course we've been talking about a lot in the last couple of years. We were supported by Senator Judy Ward, Representative Lou Schmidt, and Representative Jim Gregory. The Board of Commissioners currently has been very aggressive in seeking grants for the prison and for a study of it, so as to avoid using taxpayer funds, at least try to lessen that blow. The study itself is already underway, so that's a good thing. We're moving forward with that. I plan to continue in the office of Commissioner for another term so that I can finish out these projects that I've just outlined and continue the work that I have been doing. When reelected, I plan to address the following additional issues. Obviously, I'm going to continue to support conservative values, such as supporting the Second Amendment. I propose that the commissioners be trained in assessment and be involved in the appeal process. We, the commissioners, are the elected officials, and we should be directly accountable to our taxpayers. The ultimate goal for broadband is to actually complete an infrastructure for fiber network. This is very expensive. It's not something that we can do quickly. We need the help of the state and federal funds and the legislators. And we've been getting help from our local legislators. But the fiber project itself is the ultimate goal for broadband, and we're working towards that. A lot of progress has been made in broadband. I want to continue my work with my liaison offices. I have become very appreciative of them and their hard work that they do and that they offer for the county and for the taxpayers. I want to continue to pare costs to avoid burdening our taxpayers. Extend opportunities to local vendors to enroll in government pricing programs so that they can bid on services to the county and goods for the county. Continue making meetings, contracts, and transactions accessible to the public to see them online. I want to find and secure grant funding to complete the repairs to our roads and bridges and to our other county assets. We've been working on work at the courthouse. We need to finish a lot of projects there, and I want to try to see those things through. I would like to offer alternate work situations to our employees as well as evaluating the job positions so that we can streamline the workforce. My knowledge and experience as an attorney, a real estate broker, a business owner, a renovator and manager of investment properties, a teacher at the Altoona campus, a chaplain in our community, a Girl Scout leader, and serving as a commissioner for the last 3 years. All have given me insights and abilities to handle the issues that the county faces. I ask you all to allow me the opportunity to continue serving the people of Blair County and to continue serving you. I plan to continue to improve the situation and the operations of our county and to make Blair County great again. Thank you very much.